Aston Martin just finished the 2025 season in 7th place with 0 podiums. While this looks like a total disaster, it was actually the most expensive decoy in Formula One history. It is January 6th, 2026, and the Formula One world is still laughing at the season stats that dropped last month because the team that promised to challenge Red Bull ended up fighting with Haas. They scored 89 points to finish 7th in the Constructors' Championship without a single trophy for Fernando Alonso or Lance Stroll. On paper, the Silverstone squad looks like a failing team that spent millions of dollars just to go backwards. Looking closer at the activity inside the new campus at Silverstone today changes the picture completely. While rivals were competing for minor points in 2025, Lawrence Stroll was quietly assembling a dominant machine for the new regulation cycle. We are exactly 14 days away from the first glimpse of it in Tokyo, where Honda will reveal the power unit that convinced Adrian Newey to sign a £150 million contract. This isn't about fixing a broken car, but a plan that started 3 years ago to sacrifice one season entirely so they could dominate the next era. The 2025 car, the AMR 25, was never meant to win because it was merely a placeholder. The real machine, designed by the greatest mind in motorsport history, has been sitting in a restricted wind tunnel for 10 months. Although the media calls their recent performance a collapse, inside the factory they see it as necessary preparation. The 2026 regulations have reset the board by wiping away every advantage Red Bull and McLaren had. Everyone starts from zero, but Aston Martin made sure they started first. The 2025 season actually looked terrible, as 7th place is humiliating for a brand like Aston Martin. They finished behind Williams and were nowhere near the top 4. Fans were calling for people to be fired after the Abu Dhabi finale, but nobody left because the team leadership knew back in April 2025 that the AMR 25 was a failure. They stopped developing it early. Every hour of wind tunnel time, every pound of the budget cap, and every engineer's focus shifted to the 2026 project. While Mercedes and Ferrari were applying upgrades to their 2025 cars to chase short-term wins, Aston Martin accepted the pain. They took the public beating as a strategic retreat. Finishing 7th with a budget like theirs is not an accident. You do it because you aren't trying to win that war. You are gathering resources for the next one, and those resources are terrifying. Adrian Newey is the man who designed the cars that won 25 championships. When he walked out of Red Bull, everyone thought he would retire or go to Ferrari. But instead, he chose the team that just finished 7th. He didn't come cheap, as Stroll is paying him £30 million a year, which is more than most drivers on the grid earn. However, Newey has been at his desk in Silverstone since March 2025. He didn't touch the 2025 car because his fingerprints are entirely on the 2026 Challenger. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, Newey isn't inheriting an existing concept, but is building a powerful machine from the ground up to fit a brand new set of rules. He saw something in Aston's infrastructure that Ferrari couldn't offer. He demanded control, he demanded resources, and he got them. If Newey says the 2026 car works, you listen. Note January 20 on your calendar, because that is when Honda officially unveils their 2026 power unit in Tokyo. This is the component that changes everything. Honda powered Max Verstappen to his dominance, but Red Bull pushed them away to build their own engines with Ford, which was a major mistake. Honda signed an exclusive deal with Aston Martin, meaning Aston is no longer a customer team begging Mercedes for engines. They are now a works team. They get the engine designed specifically for their chassis, rather than a generic unit that has to fit in a Mercedes first. The new 2026 regulations demand a 50-50 split between electric and combustion power, and Honda leads the world in this tech. They have been testing this unit in Japan for 2 years, while Red Bull is still trying to figure out how to build a battery. This engine is Aston's key advantage. If you are finding this breakdown interesting, please subscribe and enable notifications as we cover breaking F1 stories like this every single week. Let's return to the factory. For years, Aston Martin had to rent time in the Mercedes wind tunnel, pack up their models, drive them down the road, and use a facility that wasn't theirs. That situation ended last year because the new wind tunnel at the AMR Technology Campus is fully operational. It went live just in time for the 2026 car development cycle. This isn't just an upgrade, it is an unfair advantage, allowing them to test parts instantly without waiting for a slot. The data they are getting is cleaner, faster, and more accurate than what they had 12 months ago. While McLaren is still relying on older tech, and Red Bull is focused on their own engine drama, Aston Martin has the freshest and most advanced simulation tools on the grid. They have been running them 24 hours a day since March. Fernando Alonso isn't stupid at 44 years old, and he didn't sign a contract extension through 2026 just to drive around in the midfield. He saw the blueprints in the Honda deal, so he stayed because he believes this is his third championship car. The Spaniard has been incredibly patient by defending the team even when they were getting knocked out in Q1 last year. He knows the cycle and understands that in 2026, driver skill will matter more because the cars will be trickier to drive with the active aerodynamics. Alonso is banking his entire legacy on this specific season. If the car is fast, he is the one driver ruthless enough to take it to Max Verstappen. He has been waiting 10 years for a car that matches his talent, and he believes this is finally the one. Lawrence Stroll doesn't do things by halves. He just sold a minority stake in the team for £74 million, but he didn't pocket that cash. Instead, he poured it right back into the company because he is committing everything to the 2026 season. The total investment now exceeds £500 million since he took over. Critics called it a vanity project for his son, but you don't hire Adrian Newey and sign Honda for a vanity project. You do it to crush the opposition. Stroll has built a factory that makes the McLaren Technology Center look outdated and gathered an elite team of engineers. He has silenced the board members who were worried about the 2025 losses by telling them to wait. He insisted that the return on investment comes when they win the World Championship in 2026, creating a level of pressure that breaks most teams. Christian Horner and Toto Wolff are worried because they know what happened the last time Adrian Newey had a regulation reset. He built the Red Bull RB18 and dominated the competition, and now he has done it again for the team in green. Red Bull is vulnerable because they are building their own engine for the first time, which is a massive risk. Mercedes lost Lewis Hamilton, while Ferrari is dealing with the internal politics of having Hamilton and Leclerc. Aston Martin is the only team with a clear, singular focus and no distractions. They have the engine, the designer, the factory, and the driver. The paddock rumors are getting louder because the data coming out of Silverstone suggests they haven't just caught up, but might have found a loophole in the 2026 rules that nobody else saw. If this strategy pays off, the traditional hierarchy of Formula One ends. It proves that with enough money and the right people, you can buy a championship in 3 years. It would vindicate Lawrence Stroll's aggressive style and cement Fernando Alonso as the greatest all-rounder in history. However, the alternative is brutal, because if the 2026 car is another failure, there are no more excuses. They have the best wind tunnel, the best designer, and a works engine, so if they fail now, the project collapses. We are facing a binary outcome where either Aston Martin becomes the new Red Bull by dominating the sport for the next 5 years, or this becomes the most expensive embarrassment in sports history. The 2026 regulations were designed to level the playing field, but Aston Martin hasn't played fair. They started the game while everyone else was still finishing the last one. When those covers come off the new car later this year, we aren't just looking at carbon fiber, but a billion-pound bet that is about to settle. The clock is ticking down to January 20, so watch Tokyo closely. If that Honda engine is as good as the rumors say, the 2026 championship might already be decided before the first light goes out.